Hey, it's all about quality, not about quantity, right? Let's get back to another round of Brewsday Tuesday with DreZ and Big Nate.
It was more of a quantity over quality this past weekend. Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store in downtown Blacksburg. Talking about my foodless canoe trip that I went on over the weekend, over a couple of Sam Adams, another IPA variety pack that had, I think this one was maybe just a 12 pack though. I just popped their Wicked Tropical IPA. I know that there was a Wicked Double in there. Some other Wicked something.
Wicked Easy.
Wicked Easy. There you go.
The light and hazy session IPA. 4.7% ABV, so it really is a session IPA.
That one came in handy. I was happy to have that one. Might even had two of those on the Sunday, on the last leg, where I was like, okay, you know, we're through the thick of it. Now I just want something to kind of keep me
going.
Yeah, keep me going. Nothing too crazy. My phone is still a wreck. Anyway, the cooler thing that I did, and I went back and forth and tried to think of different thing, and then my buddy mentioned that, and this, I was like, why didn't I think of this? This is genius. Because you want to bring some waters, obviously, because you want to stay hydrated. He was freezing his water bottles. Brilliant. So I even took it a step further, and I froze an entire gallon jug to put in my main big cooler.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean, that's still, I don't think that maybe still hasn't de-thawed.
No, it'll take a bit.
So that certainly was, I think, the trick. I still brought normal ice to kind of fit in around there. So that was nice for the first day, but obviously it was gone after that. But those frozen water bottles were perfect because I had my big cooler and then I had my little cooler that was up near me in the canoe that I was feeding off of. So you just would stack 2 beers on top of each other and then have like the frozen water bottle in between all the different ones. So it would be like beer, water bottle, beer. So that way everything stayed cold. And then once you finished one section and the water bottle wasn't touching beers, you would pull that water bottle out, drink the water in it, and it would still maybe have like a bit of ice in it. So you kind of would leave that out. I used it as lumbar support at one point, and it was nice and cooling, which was pretty sweet as well. Didn't get sunburnt, was pretty good about putting on sunscreen. Also, my buddy had one of those just big old floppy hats that he had an extra one that he let me borrow, which was pretty sweet. And I think that was a testament. That's why you don't see me looking burnt. I was pretty good about that.
Do you sunburn? You seem like someone who wouldn't sunburn.
I can burn, but it's never too bad. And if I do, and sometimes I almost want to, like I should probably do it this time of year, because if I get a burn, then it'll turn into a tan. It'll suck for like a day or two, and then I look golden brown.
I'm in the same boat. Like the wife and the kids all need sunscreen. Like we went out to Claytor Lake for the beach festival on Saturday and putting sunscreen on the kids. Helped the wife put her sunscreen on, and she's like, "Aren't you going to put any on?" No, I'm not.
Well, the thing just came out about whatever ingredient that's in a lot of sunscreen that you need to avoid now. And I don't know. I'm sure it's probably in all the stuff that I have, but
honestly, that's another thing is I'm allergic to most sunscreens. So it's just better to not. Yeah, most metals I'm allergic to, like breaks out, itches, gets all gnarly. So I've just for years not used. I can use zinc oxide, and that's about it. Like when we bought my wedding ring, we bought a tungsten ring because that's supposed to be hypoallergenic, and I'm allergic to that even.
Jeez, I did not know that about you.
Just awful. So I never put sunscreen on.
That's pretty anti-metal.
It really is. Like it's the least metal thing about me.
Jeez. So yeah, but the trip, day 2 was rough. Again, we started off. I think I was feeling it maybe worse than everybody else. Siegel's just a champ, dude. Like I guess he's just used to it. He also told me after the fact, and I wish I had noticed this, he was up first. And he even went out and just started fishing a little bit and whatnot while he was waiting for us to get our bearings, because Pete ended up just going back to sleep for a little bit and whatnot. But he told me later in the day that, yeah, I was feeling rough too. But he forced up. He said he chugged, just stood up and chugged 6 bottles of water. First thing in the morning, just woke up and just started chugging water. And I was like, that would have been a smart thing to do. Yeah. I think I had like a Gatorade, and then Pete offered me a vodka pineapple juice morning cocktail. I was like, that'll probably help. So yes, please. And then I didn't have much water, which might have saved me if I had the wherewithal or thought to just chug waters in the morning.
Well, I think pineapple juice is a diuretic, so that probably dehydrated you more.
It probably did. Maybe that was exactly why I was feeling even worse. But man, so we were
how quiet was that first leg of the second day?
Very quiet. In fact, Pete even mentioned that we were just going, casting, feeling rough. Didn't even talk much. We just kind of looked over and were like, just like a nod or whatever, because we were both feeling about the same.
Like King of the Hill, all standing by the fence, just nodding at each other. Yep.
And it was a long day too, man. And it was the hottest day. We were on the river for 7.5 hours, 8 hours, something like that. And I caught nothing. Caught nothing on the river, just hung over, cast, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of times. Seagull did get, so that's the thing. So, there'd be little spots where there's rocks and sometimes you get stuck, which usually you'd be like, oh no, or whatever. But if you do it right, it's a good thing because then you're anchored and you can actually fish a little bit easier and better. We didn't bring any anchors. That's another thing we need to remedy. Because you're just constantly moving, which also just adds another element. If you get caught, then you're having to like paddle backwards, and it's a bit strenuous actually just fishing on the river in a canoe.
I've never caught, like, I've gone fishing plenty of times on the New River. I have never once caught a fish on the New River. Claytor Lake every time, man.
The lake,
dude. I mean, it's stocked, so obviously you're dealing with a little bit of a different environment, and the fish are probably a little more interactive there. But I've never caught a fish on the New River.
Well, I'm used to fishing on the lake as well. I'm used to just you're staying put, you casting it out, you can watch a bobber, much more chill and easier. There's not as much going on. And I was thinking about it. I did get the seats for the canoe and whatnot. I was like, oh, maybe, and I got my fishing license, so maybe for a whole nother year. So maybe I will just take that out and try fishing the lake a little bit. But we luckily Seagull stopped up on some like kind of like little rapid action and ended up catching a smallmouth bass, little guy. And I think he got I don't know if he stayed there a while. I don't know if he got another one there or just a little bit further down the river, but got another one pretty equivalent, like a smallmouth. And then we're trying to figure out where to stay. We pull up to an island. It doesn't look good. We pull up to another island. It doesn't look good. And then we see a guy fishing off of an island, and the island looked all right. And we asked him, hey, do you know anything about this island? Is it cool to camp here? Because one of them we were going to do, but there were some people across the way. And last thing you want to do is set up camp and then somebody come around and like yell at you saying you got to move, So we asked this guy, we're like, hey, do you know like anything about this island? Is it cool here? And he's like, well, I live right there. He's like, oh, is this your island? He's like, this island belongs to the river. And I was like, it's like, so that means we can camp. Right? He said the island belongs to the river. So we were happy to hear that. And this island was so much nicer because we were right on the bank. So we didn't have to unload our canoes and bring it up to the campsite. So that made unloading, that made life a lot easier. And also it was more like what I envisioned, where we were right on the bank of the river. So I just went, I set up my chair right like in the river, maybe about 4 inches, 5 inches deep. So I had my feet in the water and I just started casting out there right off the bank. I'd say on the fourth cast, I caught my first fish, unhooked it, put it in the cooler, went back. A few more casts later, caught another one just like it. I was like, all right, now we're cooking. So then Pete grabs his rod. He goes over to the other side of the island, so we're not crossing streams. He catches on like the fifth cast with a little minnow thing that he says he wished he had been using so much sooner. Caught a bluegill. So bam, we all of a sudden we had 5 fish and we're cooking, fish man. So now. I'm like, all right, let's keep it going. So we kept it going. Didn't catch anything else, but and again, the one fish the first day was the biggest for sure. All 5 of the other ones combined were still more the next day, but It was still, we didn't get a whole lot of eating that night. In fact, you know, Pete did cook it again with the seasoning. He did a little squeeze of lemon. And then we had the pan there. He's like, well, I do have all these lemons. He actually fried up lemons, sprinkled Old Bay on it, and took a bite, which I thought was ridiculous, and immediately threw it all away because it was as terrible as you would imagine.
I can't eat this.
Siegel starts snacking on what he says were onions. I'm pretty sure it was just really thick grass. But you know, I guess I'm not a plant expert, but I didn't do either of those. But the last night we were much more reasonable, and thankfully that led to an easier Sunday morning where we just paddled the whole way. We paddled for 2 hours straight.
At that point, so let's get this done.
Yeah, to get to the last one, because also, you know, we're doing down the river, but we had about a mile or two of being in like Clater in the lake, which you're not flowing as fast. So you are having to paddle. So it was 2 straight hours of paddling at the end there. But thankfully, once we got out and I brought on the canoes and packed up the vehicles, we went up to Siegel's cabin where his mom had the most ridiculous spread set up for us, man. I mean, she had these like ham and turkey and whatever kind of sauce and cheese, like rolls. And I mean, she cooked us up eggs, like 3 different types of eggs and sausage, and there was fresh fruit and cookies and cranberry bread and muffins. And I mean, dude, it was just unbelievable. So I think that's how I gained 5 pounds. It was obviously I drank a lot of beer and then I ate so much food. So it was pretty awesome. It was successful. We survived. Besides Pete eating 1 bite of a lemon that he brought, I think we all abided by the rules and only, you know, ate what we caught. Pete was suggesting and was realizing quickly that he should have brought his crossbow. I know that's big and clunky, but there were so many geese and stuff that we maybe could have got. That would have been fantastic.
Should have brought my crossbow. Yeah, you should have. What the hell? Withholding information.
It was certainly a learning experience.
Would you do it again?
Oh, I'm sure we're going to do it again. I'm quite certain this is an annual tradition now. Question is are we going to stick with the whole no food thing? I'm sure Siegel would be pro no food. I'm pretty sure Pete would be pro let's bring some food. I'm a bit on the fence about it because it's cool. I mean, we've done it. So maybe next time. There was times, especially on that day 2, I was like, this would be so much more fun if I just had some food.
So how strict is the I'm going to wager this for next time you guys do this. Barter. You know, I've got this beer. You come up on another fisherman who looks a little thirsty. You're like,
point.
Hey,
we were floating down the river, and there were some people camping. They flagged us down. Hey, you in the canoe? Our friends over on that side. I don't know if she went to the wrong campsite or what. She's like, it's a 45-minute drive for her to get over here. She's like, if we gave you some money, would you go pick her up and bring her over? And so Siegel goes to get her, and I explained to him what we're doing. And once I say that, you know, we didn't bring any food, we're doing this 3-day canoe trip where we just got to, she's like, oh, well, I'm happy to give you I can make you some bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. And I was like, oh, man. Because in my mind, I almost feel like that should be allowed. Like
that should.
Like
That's kind of catching it.
But we didn't do that.
You're working for it.
Maybe that'll be the compromise next year. Maybe we can't. Maybe that rule might get lax. And if we come across something, if we get the barter system,
I think that should be allowed.
I would welcome that. I think that would be, you know, if we get offered food,
you can take it.
I might allow that. Either way, let's go ahead and untap these beers. The tropical IPA from Sam Adams, the whole variety pack from Sam Adams was pretty pleasant. The price point was not nearly as good as the Southern Tier. The 15-pack, which had more options, 3 of 5, versus the 12-pack that had 4 options. Sam Adams they were damn near the same price. Sam Adams actually might have been more. I don't know. Either way, it's still pretty damn good. It's going down easy. 6.8%. Or no, excuse me, 6%. It was one that I was happy to drink out on the river. This is a good river beer, I would say. if you're looking for something a little something to get you in keep you going and not feel hungry when you don't have food for 2 days. I'll give it a 4.
All right.
2, 5.
Oh, all right. Sam Adams. I mean, there's a reason they're the biggest name in craft brewing. They know what they're doing.
That's true.
And it comes wicked easy to them.
Mm-hmm.
Light and hazy session IPA, 4.7% ABV, low ABV. Not my favorite thing in the world, but if you're on a canoe trip where you can't eat, probably pretty solid. So putting myself in that mindset, I'm going to go ahead and I'll give this a 4.5.
4.5. That might be right about right. That's a wrap on Brewsday Tuesday. Next week, I don't know. My mind is still quite a bit of a blur.
We'll have beer.
We will probably have beer. I think that's a safe bet. That's a wrap on Brewsday Tuesday. We will take a quick break and we'll get back with some tunes right here on 105.3 The Bear. Stick around.